Yeah, Ecuador has this immense problem, especially in the Andes, and that is landslides. Yeah, there's no man-made retaining wall system that is better than this Ficus maxima. This tree will basically create this root system that will retain anything. You could not do this with boulders. You could not do this with cement walls. This plant is a cheaper, more effective alternative than any man-made retaining wall system. This tree gets to work very quickly and solves all these erosion and landslide problems in any country. I'm a firm believer that there's a plant for every problem in every country, in every garden. There's a plant that has a solution for the gardener, for the government, whoever has a problem. There are trees that are solutions for very specific problems. I met the man who planted this tree. He said he planted it 25 years ago. He found it somewhere and he planted this on my lot. This thing is a monster. I'm not quite sure, but I think these roots show up somewhere in China or whatever. These roots go down into territories that no other tree will go into. This Ficus maxima is more comfortable in warm climates, not so much in the Andes. But as you can see, it thrives even in colder climates. It is a beast. The fruits are desired by many animals. That Paddington bear comes down here and eats the fruits. Bats love it. There's all kinds of animals that benefit from this Ficus maxima. Now, back to this idea of securing lots more of these dangerous slopes in Ecuador. This is the tree to do it. It is incredibly powerful. Unfortunately, it doesn't grow incredibly fast here in the Andes because it's too cold for it. Everywhere else, it just goes crazy. As you can see here, this is bedrock here. There's no topsoil there. This is rock. Even in there, that's all rock. And it's wrapping itself around everything and growing in place. So this tree is not scared to send its roots like a bore machine into the rock and to root itself in perfect harmony with the rock. Very disease resistant, very powerful. It does have one problem, and that is this strangulation. It'll wrap itself around other trees, and it will kill them. And so it's like it uses the host to get bigger, and then it just strangles whatever it tangled itself around. Ecuador needs to grow these like crazy and propagate them. I spoke to the head of the forestry department regarding this tree. He actually got me these seedlings. I have like 12 of them. So I'm going to start putting them strategically on my hill so they grow exactly like this and take over the space and protect the hill from landsliding coming down. So the discussion I had with him was very interesting. These trees are very hard to find. And he says that the bats, the feces of the bats are the best way to get this plant to germinate, the seeds. So they'll eat the big seed pod, and then the plant will germinate. So what I understand is that the feces of the bats will make the seed pop open and start to germinate. So it's like a symbiotic relationship between the bat and the seed. If these could be propagated more, it would be a great addition to the Ecuadorian landslide issues by planting these guys everywhere and getting them to hold up the mountains and the slopes. You can see these root systems are like, they're so aggressive. They go everywhere. It makes a big difference having this plant on a hill compared to anything else. There's nothing as good as this Ficus maxima. So we're going to plant 12 of them on my hill just for preventive maintenance. And I want to really make sure that I don't lose them because they're kind of hard to get these seedlings. So I want to protect them. So I'm going to plant them inside pails so that every time I water them, they actually have the ability to hold on to the water a little bit longer because there's a pail around the outside. Yeah, these Ficus maxima are quite magical trees. They attract the attention of kids. They're growing very majestically. The roots are very predominant, and it's a beautiful tree. Make sure you put it in a spot where it's not too aggressive, not too close to a house. This tree has a function in Ecuador now. If it really is dedicated to preventing landslides, it would make a huge difference for the entire country. And that idea of getting this set up, growing seeds, getting these seedlings started, spread out through the entire country to protect very vulnerable areas for landslide issues, would be a huge money saver for the Ecuadorian government as well, to have these trees actually doing the job instead of cleaning up all these landslides that are happening. If these trees were planted everywhere, it would make such a difference for the country. And they are very beautiful. If you had 20 of these on the side of a road on a cliff, it would just be breathtaking, especially if there's water in the area. And these guys will look for water. You don't really need to water them maybe in the beginning, but once they get their tap roots down into the ground, they're going to find their own water. Don't worry about it. This is going to be a really strong plant to survive on its own. So this is the part I want. It's going to provide some wind shade, and it's going to provide some sunshade, and it's going to allow us to water this a lot more intensively, because the plant is going to be in the middle of this, like this. And every time you water, this will keep most of the moisture in that spot, and it'll go down into the soil, and the roots will follow the water. So this is what we're trying to do. We're going to make 13 of these, and we're going to put them all up on the hill and plant them in such a way that these guys have a real fighting chance to establish themselves. Even this stony soil is not a hindrance for these Ficus maximus. They will grow incredibly well inside this material. The ability to wrap itself around any major rocks make it so beneficial to plant on any steep slope. Here we're preparing the area. This is the pale rim that I was talking about. It's placed in there. We're going to be able to raise the topsoil a little bit more. Yeah, this is exactly where we're planting this, right on this steep slope. Lots of bedrock there. So this idea of giving this plant, these ficus, a better fighting start is very important to us because we don't want to lose them. These should establish themselves very quickly. They're very interesting. They don't have any roots sticking out of the sides, so it must be all inside the root ball. There's nothing here to loosen up. And hopefully by giving them this pale advantage, they will survive and start to flourish on our steep slope behind our eco lodge.